Hey, thanks for listening to Van Talk with Kash'd Out. Today, our guest is Paul Milbury from Law Records. He's the general manager. He runs all things Law Records, and he does a damn good job. I'm stoked for you to meet him.
Here we are, man.
Wow. Van Talk.
Right.
And what a lovely guest we have. We have basically our number one man trying to push us forward. We got Paul Milbury from Law Records.
You made him plural.
Yeah, you made it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I call him Paul's?
You did, yeah. The funny part is my middle name is Scott, so it's Paul S. Milbury, so it's Paul's Milbury or Paul Smillsbury.
Smillsbury.
Oh,
Yeah,
baby,
dude.
I like this.
Dude. Yeah, man. I'm into that, dude.
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah. What's
Nice.
up, Paul?
Just living the dream out here on the West Coast, man.
Hell yeah.
Quarantine style, but, enjoying life nonetheless.
Oh, that's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. Hell yeah. Well, man, dude, we got some questions for you. This is our Paul. You're our first call-in guest
Nice.
ever, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Guinea pig number one.
That's right. We
Yeah.
chose the best one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So your episode's gonna be probably all fucked up, and
Perfect.
Yeah, that's
Perfect.
yeah.
That's great.
Dude, so how'd you get into the record label world, man?
Man, the record label world. So first I started out in a band. So I kind of cut my teeth in a band called High Roots. We were a reggae band out of San Diego for about 7 years.
Well, I never knew
Kinda-
this. What instrument
You
did you
didn't-
play?
Bass and
What?
rhythm
You're a
guitar.
bassist too?
Yeah.
We
yeah,
never
man.
bonded over this, Paul.
I know. Well, you never asked. You
What?
never bothered to ask, Joey.
That's
How
what?
rude, dude.
We bonded
know.
over Spice Lords being Dune dudes. We bonded over bands. We didn't bond over bass. What kind of bass did you have, dude?
Just a jazz bass, just Fender jazz bass.
Classy, always classy. Four
Yeah.
string.
Yep, 4-string.
Yeah, you seem like a 4-string kind of guy,
It goes to my punk rock side. The punk rock days as well too.
dude. Yeah, pumping that.
4-string.
Pull that tone knob all the way and get a pick. That's the best feeling in the world.
Exactly.
yeah.
So I was doing that and was playing in a band, and I was kind of handling all the kind of the business component of that. Helping with booking, doing if we had to rent a van or something like that, I'd do all the business side of things. So I was kind of the business mind of that project, and then basically I got started. A guy that was helping out our band, this guy Neil Schroeder, he was working on a label called Blue Alon Records, and he was like, "Hey, we need help. We're growing. Would you be interested in joining?" And so that was circa 2015 or so. So I started working at that label, driving up to LA once a week, kind of learning the ropes, and got my start at that label. And then end of 2018, jumped over to Law as general manager.
And we're so glad you did.
Yeah, man.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man. It's
Dude.
been rad.
Yeah, hell yeah, man, dude. So, what's it like being the GM of a label? Like, what's your day in and day out look like?
Well, I mean, I think every label is different, depending on, the size and scale of everything. But my day in and day out schedule is getting bombarded with emails and having to
Yeah, sure.
set aside time for emails and other projects. But basically the cool thing about Law is we all do everything. And so I kind of almost start every day with a list of things that I need to do. I write it down, and then I kind of just tackle all the must-dos of the day. And then as I go down the list, I kind of get to the rest of it. But anything from planning out release schedules of all the bands, if we got to order merch, marketing timelines, pitches to the distributor, to radio, to all of those things. So kind of like wearing many different hats all at once.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Dude.
My goodness. Like, I'm only in one band, and it's almost like you're in dozens of bands, you know? And that's, oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's fun though, man, because every band is different and every band has their own workflow and every band has their own personality. So like working with you guys is such a pleasure and a treat. Working with all the bands is rad. Like, I mean, Law is just, the whole roster is just so much fun. But like every band is different and every band is at a different place in whatever they're doing. And so like it's kind of like, yeah, you're kind of like a silent member that, you know, kind of just help push things along. And you know, it's super fun. I love dealing with all the different personalities too. You guys are always such characters to deal with, which is so fun.
That's awesome. That's so funny.
I'm not sure how to take that, but
Dude,
it's a good thing, man. Lots of personality, you know.
Dude, we've talked about it on the podcast before. I feel like we talk about it all the time, man. But we love Law.
Oh yeah, we love Law.
Yeah,
only good things.
Awesome.
Yeah, sometimes people like other bands will ask us about Law, or if we're just at a show somewhere and there's like a younger band opening up, they're like, oh, what's it like being on a label? It feels so good to be able to say like we love our label, man. They're
awesome.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you guys seriously kill it. We always tell everybody, like, you guys go out of your way to basically just like make whatever like crazy like marketing idea we have, or like even just like creative direction for the albums and stuff. I feel like you guys have always been super supportive of just sort of driving that and helping us make that a reality, you know? So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I mean, that's like, you know, at the end of the day, like it's all about you guys, the bands, you know? Like, I mean, it's you guys are the ones that are carrying the Law torch. So it's like, I love to hear that you're stoked because we love you guys, you know? So it's like whatever we could do to help, you know, stoke you guys out, help make whatever you guys are working on, amplify what you guys are doing. Like,
oh yeah,
that's kind of, I feel like what our role is. And, you know, and however we can help is kind of just like, let's do it.
Yeah, dude. And do it, you do, man.
So thanks,
cool.
man.
Yeah.
It's a good time, man, over at Law. You know, it's cool to have you know, the Pepper guys involved as much as they are, and to be into the whole process as well too, which is just so rad that they're just big music fans, you know, which is like what we all are. And I think that's what, you know, that's the kind of culture that they're curating with that, you know.
What were some of those some of the first like live acts you'd go out to see that like really inspired you, like when you're first getting into music?
When I like original, like first kind of concerts?
Oh yeah, let's go way back.
Oh shit. Well, the first show I ever went to was Green Day in 5th grade.
Yeah.
Which was dope. Yeah. It was on the Insomniac tour.
Whoa.
It was in Hawaii. Yeah. It was, and it was badass, dude. And like, you know, like looking back at it too, like my parents let me go with like a friend. We didn't have parents or, you know, guardians. And I'm like, you know, I have 2 daughters and I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm letting them go to a concert in 5th grade, you know, without me going. Cause I'd want to go first of all, and then, you know,
right.
But then also like, I was like, no way. So, but that was that one. And then I went to 2 Warped tours, 98 and 99 in Hawaii. Cause I grew up in Hawaii, and those ones kind of just like, I mean, they changed my world of like what I wanted to do, like going to shows, like the vibe and like, you know, the energy, like just, you guys know, it's like when it hits, it's like, it's crazy. So like, I always wanted to be in a band and play music. And so I was doing that for a long time. And then, you know, now I'm on the business label side of things, which is even cooler because like you said, I can be in 12 different bands all at once without having to, you know, leave my living room.
Yeah. You don't have to sleep in the van at all anymore.
yeah.
Dude, I do not. And that was, you know, God, man, the van that we were in had 8 people. So like, you got me imagine.
Bro.
So in a 15-passenger van, it was always like the 2 up front and then the 4 back, and then there was like, you know, 2 people that didn't have their own row, so like they had to like sleep, you know.
You ever sleep in the crevice?
The crevois, as we called it.
Whoa, shit, dude.
Whoa.
It was
Crevois?
it was very classy,
Dog.
dude. There was cheese and wine. It was nice. The whole night.
Dude,
Yeah.
we made the right choice with
Yeah.
law, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
liking what I'm
I
hearing.
didn't even think you could beef up the
Dude.
crevice like that.
Yeah,
Wow.
dude.
Oh,
Paul's
yeah.
a crevice
Yes.
boy like us, Jay.
Hell
He's a
yeah,
crevice
dude.
man.
Yeah. It was the crevois was really nice.
Did you,
you were styling when you were there.
Yeah,
Did
dude.
you have a name for the trash hole? Like we call like that little place when you take your first step in the trash hole?
You did not. No. What
yeah,
is
you
what
guys
is
have
your
a trash
guys'?
hole. We
We
call it
just
the
call
trash
it
hole.
the trash
We
hole.
call
like the
trash
part,
hole.
yeah, the part where like when you open the doors, there's like that little step up into the van. You know,
Yeah.
that's where you throw like cups.
and we'd make like a cardboard trash can kind of thing because we'd have a lot of liquids in there too.
It's like
for
a
some
trough.
reason.
It's like a cardboard.
Yeah, it's like a
trough.
trough.
it
dude.
really was.
Greg
the
like
trough.
lost it one day and was like, there's banana peels in here and
Yeah.
I gotta make an insert. So he like went out. We were like, all right, and he like went out with like tape and found a box like from some business and like made this thing that inserted perfectly.
It
in
was
that
perfect.
box.
I also banned bananas in the
Yeah,
van. too.
I remember when you banned sauces. That didn't really last long.
Yeah, we call it the
Yeah.
banana ban. There's no, we're not allowed to have bananas per Greg.
Yeah. Well,
That's
Yeah.
funny.
I would be the one to
understandable.
clean out the van sometimes, and the sauces and banana peels were just like just awful, dude.
You'd slip on the banana peel.
yeah,
You could, somebody could. I don't really.
Greg
It's,
kept on
I just
slipping
don't
on
want any
banana
lawsuits.
yeah.
Totally.
Dude, oh my goodness, I can't believe
Paul, weren't you in True Press?
No, I was not in True Press. I was in a band called High Roots, which
Oh.
was HI for all from Hawaii. We were all out of Hawaii, and K-Bong was actually in the band too. I went to middle school with K-Bong, and we were in that. We kind of started that project with a couple other guys as well.
Gotcha.
it.
Was
That's amazing.
so
Yeah.
was Dan? I think his last name starts with a K.
Yeah,
He was in that band. We met,
he played in True Press for a minute. Yeah.
okay. For some reason, I thought that you guys were in a band together. Remember the bass player for K Bong when we were on that run?
Oh, not
Dan?
the bassist, the
Oh,
keyboardist,
keyboard
right?
player. Yeah,
Keyboard
Keyboard.
player.
player.
Yes.
Yeah, he ripped it super nice.
He was awesome. I love that.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I know Dan from like high school days because he
Oh,
went to
wow.
Milwaukee, and so I knew, yeah, because like I said, I knew Kevin from middle school, so I knew, he went to a different high school than I did, so I knew Dan from there, and we would always all jam music more or less together from then on, pretty much. Yeah. So Dan's the man. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Man.
And we played shows with True Press and
yeah.
we did the whole scene, man. It was fun, man. We kind of stopped around 2015 or so was when I think probably our last show, 2015.
Mhm.
But we did a nationwide tour with Natty Vibes, which was super fun.
Dope.
Because those are like, heroes of ours growing up in Hawaii. And they did the whole prank to us too, where they like hid raw fish in like the vents of
Oh
the
my
van.
god.
And so like we were like, what the fuck is that smell? Like for like the longest time we couldn't even find it out until the end of tour, basically, when they told us that like, we put some fucking fish up there. We're like, whoa.
Oh,
So that was super fun.
Speaking
yeah, I bet that was awesome.
That's
speaking
brilliant.
Yeah,
of
it was
tour
great.
pranks, we've never talked about this. What happened on the last tour?
Oh, with Pepper?
Yeah, there's video of it. I'm sure you've seen it, Paul.
Yeah, you seen that video of
I have not.
Oh, you can't miss it, dude. There's like, I'm holding a loaf of bread in one hand
Oh,
and a big old dildo microphone in the other
yes. Okay, yes.
because
I have seen
Pepper
that one.
decided to prank me on
Yes.
on that tour.
yeah, I remember
That's so awesome.
The worst was that, like, do you remember right before we got on stage, you're like, look, man, I just want you to know that, it's the last show. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, so like, it might be a prank or something. And I was like, okay. And you like just try to mentally prepare me for it. And then I walk in, I take 2 steps in the door and totally fucking fell for it. There's stage guy's like, he's like, hey, we're having a problem with the mic. There's like a leak or something. So there's a towel over the microphone. So your mic's still there. It's just under the towel. I'm, okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good. That's good
that
setup.
was good.
Yeah, that was good.
Because they spent
That's
like
a good one.
3 days drilling out this giant dildo
Oh my god.
and like
send a bunch of Pepper Crew guys holding the cock.
Yeah.
While another guy drills into it, you know? It's being like, hold the fucking thing steady, jeez.
Yeah, it's hard too because dude, I'm like trying to sing in it and it's just like
Flopping all
flopping
over.
around. Yeah, I gotta hold it.
It's
like
more,
this.
you know, it's more sturdy if you stroke it,
You
right?
cup the
Like
balls.
it gets harder.
You cup the balls. Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, so what was it like growing up in Hawaii? You said you grew up there.
Yeah, man. It was awesome. We got to go to the beach and, the island. I mean, I grew up on Oahu, and so like it was rad, dude. You could drive around the island basically in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. You could be back like where you started, going around the whole thing. So,
Yeah.
that was super fun. It was rad, man. I feel like in a really cool way, Hawaii has kind of like always kind of blessed me with opportunities because like when I moved to San Diego, we like there's a huge Hawaii connection. So like we made a lot of friends that way. We started this band. Law actually talked to High Roots when we were like maybe 2010 or so, and that's how I met at the time Mark, who was running Law. I met them. We had a meeting with them, and whatever reasons it didn't work out. But I kept in touch with Mark, and then, circa 8 years later, like, he called me and asked me if I wanted to, help run it. And so it was kind of like, I feel like Hawaii has kind of always led like my life to like really awesome things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
It's such a small
man.
community. It's such a small community, and it's family, and the vibes are so cool. And like, there's like, it's all about respect, and you like, you take your shoes off before you enter a house. And I don't know, there's just all these like, all these things that like I really am grateful for growing up there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it was great.
that's dope, dude. What what made you move out to California?
Well, I went to SDSU, so San Diego State,
Okay.
for college, and so I just was like, I gotta go to college, and then I've just basically been in San Diego since.
Yeah.
So, other full circle thing too was my senior year of high school. Pepper played our Project Grad Party, which was the other full circle of having like Hawaii and Pepper and Law and all of that stuff.
Wow.
So yeah, the Hard Rock Cafe.
Nice.
I
dude.
kind
went
of
off.
think about stuff like that. I always think about how like when like it's like I've watched these bands play a show and I was like at their show, and then I'm like trying to pursue it in the music industry and whatnot. And it's like when we're playing, I always think like I wonder if we're playing to one of my next favorite bands. You know what I mean? Like if we're gonna inspire some random person of the audience to just take it somewhere even further than even what we could imagine. And it's just amazing how it's just a constant like reaction of inspiration through like everyone and all these shows and all these bands.
For sure. And I mean, just as you like play different venues, I'm sure too, like as you guys get in bigger venues and like playing different in front of different crowds, it's like a perspective just change as you guys grow and stuff. And like I don't know, seeing bands, and then going to local shows, like local punk shows in Hawaii, and then any mainland band that would come to Hawaii, and then going to San Diego and seeing bands out here, and then working with bands. Like it's just kind of a constant evolution of perspective, so to speak.
Yeah.
How has your perspective changed, transitioning from being in a band to like what you're doing now? Like you must view bands completely differently from how you did 5 years ago. For sure. And I mean that's a great question. I think I mean, I definitely like, for better or worse, am on the more like business component side of like looking at bands and like, like how can we market this, and how like will this, is there an audience for this, and that kind of stuff. Like, so I look at it from that side a lot more than I did when I was younger, like, because it was like just all about the music, man. And like, it is still all about the music to some degree, but like, there is still like all that other stuff, like, so that's kind of changed in that regard. But I definitely think that I've like, expanded greatly because, I kind of listen to all kinds of music, versus when I was younger, I was very like in my lane of like punk, reggae, ska. That was kind of the wheelhouse of it all. And then now it's like, like I'm Americana, like, or whatever, like I'm down to listen to for all the, like the musicianship, instrumentation. And then also from like a a business standpoint to like see like what are other scenes doing and what are other labels doing that's helping them grow, and like, you know, like how are they marketing their albums, and kind of, so just trying to soak up all of that, you know, information of what's going on. So like I'm definitely like listening to a lot more and watching a lot more than I was before. That's for sure.
Yeah, totally. That's cool, man.
What that you kind of touched on it a little bit, but when you are looking for a band or considering a band, what are some things that you look out for the people who want to know that?
I mean, I think I would say first, man, is it's like it's all about the music. Like it always comes back to like how does the music sound? Like where is it coming from? Like what kind of stories are they telling? So I would say like it's all of that, and like the vibe, the feels, so to speak, from the music. So that's the first and foremost, and then after that you dive into the like, you know, the data, like the analytics, like do they have a following, have they toured, you know, have they, you know, those kinds of things that helps like take into consideration. But like it always goes back to the music. So like regardless if somebody has, you know, zero following or is brand new, like if they're like a killer musician and a killer artist, like, you know, that's what it's all about, you know.
Can I ask you what your first impression of Kash'd Out was?
My first impression of Kash'd Out.
Spot.
That's right.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna be paying attention to this question.
Yeah.
We're taking notes.
Yeah. I always thought you guys were super catchy, like just from like,
oh hell yeah,
from right out of hearing it, like the hooks and
dude, we got
like
Hookmaster General over here.
Yeah, the Hookmaster General for sure. Yeah, like so that was always like my first thought was like, oh, these guys are super catchy, and then the more time that I spent with the music, the more I'm like, man, these guys are really good songwriters, and the musicianship is killer too. So yeah, man.
Well, thanks.
I got
Paul.
introduced to you guys around for sure around when the Hookup came out. I remember I used to meet up with Mark probably like every 6 months or so. We'd have coffee and kind of talk story, and I remember him telling me about you guys and like and introducing me to you guys then. So I've been, you know, paying attention since around that time.
Oh, that's awesome. It's awesome
Mark's
to know.
the man, dude.
It's awesome to know you
Mark's
were paying
the man.
attention then.
Yeah, he's awesome, dude. He's
For
such,
sure. Mark he's the man for sure.
you know,
Yeah.
it's funny, man, when you kind of took the torch from Mark, when we first met you, I remember like Greg and I were both like, is it just me, or is this guy like this same super nice guy as Mark, man? Like you guys both have the same sort of
It's like a Hawaiian drawl that I didn't know was there.
yeah, right. Yeah, you guys are just
like
like
that.
both. Yeah, because like before we met you, we were like, oh well, Mark's the nicest guy there is, right? And then we met you, and we're like, oh, so is Paul.
Oh, so
Thanks,
true.
man.
Yeah.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Mark's the man, and he, like I said, like he put this in motion for me as well too. I mean, like he called me out of the blue and like, you know, hey, I have these projects coming up, and like we'd love to help. You know, I'd love you to come on and help on. And then it was like a week or two later, it was like, listen, I some things changed, and like I need you to run the label, and like I need you full time. And I was like, okay. And then it turned to like, here, you got to run this thing like really quickly. So it was really like this incredible opportunity that came so fast that like I'm just grateful that he called. I'm grateful that he like reached out. And then it's a trippy part in the back of my mind. It was like we always just stayed in touch, like, you know. And I'm like,
right.
God, who else do I need to stay in touch with? You know, like,
Yeah.
you know, no, but I'm just dude, Mark's the man, and yeah, super stoked. And the coolest part was right before that he called, like about a month before, like I was about to have my second daughter. So like right when I was getting that job was right when like my daughter Dylan was born. So it was like this like crazy, like, all right, I'm about to quit my job. I'm about to join this label, start running this label that I've like looked up to for like how long, you know, with like some of my peers, with Pepper guys, and about to have another baby, like, which is no big deal at all either, you know? Like, so I was like,
totally relaxed.
it was super mellow. I was like, this is no big deal. So that was rad, man. Dude, 2019 was like a fucking nuts year, and I'm just stoked that it like has been what it's been, and just to like 2020 can kiss my ass, but like it's all good though.
Dude, it's crazy that was like when you said 2019. Like I feel like you've been running the label for longer than that, but I guess it's only been like what a year and change, huh?
Yeah, year and 9 months or 10 months.
Okay,
so
it's almost 2 years then.
So almost 2 years. December, pretty much December, January will be 2 years. Yeah.
Wow.
But thank you for saying that, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
like
man.
longer.
I feel like it's been forever, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we didn't skip a beat really. Like you did a great job in that transition, and like
Totally.
we had a bunch of shit going on, and like it was just smooth.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Nice. Thanks, man.
We love work with you, man. It's awesome. It really is.
Yeah.
Dude,
Love you guys.
yeah. Dude, we had you had some label experience before Law too, though, right? You've worked at a label before?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was that like? Were you kind of in the same position?
So it was called Blue Lawn Records. It was an indie label out of West LA, so out of like right by UCLA. So I would drive up there once a week, twice every other week, like with my buddy Niels, who got me into that job. And he is like he's the man, dude. Like he worked at a label called Surf Dog Records, which is they managed Brian Setzer Orchestra for 20 something years. They put out the Slightly Stupid album, that third one, Everything You Need. Like they've done a lot of stuff. They're out of Encinitas, but he worked there for 20, 25 years. And then he brought me into this other label. And so like I'd have a car ride with him for like 3 hours, every day, probably 2 hours each way, once a week. So like I looked at that, like that was like my crash course 101 into like labels and the music scene. And like we would just like, oh, if you had to like turn this act around, like what would you do? Like how would you approach this? Or like, oh, what we should do? We should try to, we would have these car rides because you're in traffic and you have nothing else to do for however long, and you would just kind of like pick each other's brains. So like I was doing, so in that car ride, I felt like I learned as much as I could doing any other job. But then when we actually would get to the office, we then would actually work at a label as well too. But it was great. I was like a marketing, the title was like I was a project manager for like 4 or 5 acts, and handled marketing and like online advertising and things like that. So I did a lot of the same functions, but in Law's role, I'm kind of doing everything, a little bit of everything, and kind of managing all of it, versus there I was, I didn't necessarily do the metadata. I didn't necessarily do all the production for the manufacturing of artwork and all of that. And, but I kind of do all of that now,
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it was cool though, man. Cause it was a little like different scene that I'm into. It was Americana. We had some heritage acts, some younger acts as well too. But what was cool was I got really hands-on experience with like, we're going to hire, a publicist for 3 months at, whatever thing we're going to do. We'd run full radio campaigns and marketing campaigns and press campaigns. So like I kind of got a lot of hands-on experience with running like real budgets, which was, invaluable, or, it was really great experience.
Yeah.
To do all that.
That's cool.
So, yeah. So it was cool. The only thing that was like hard about it was like it were scenes that I wasn't as familiar with, like the reggae scene. Like I literally I played with a lot of the bands that we're working with. I know the venues, and I know there's like the Thursday night in Santa Barbara that's like a raging night that at this venue that you want to try to hit on a tour or something like that. So like the being back at Law has been so much more fulfilling because it's in a scene that I like know and love anyway,
Totally, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that's gotta make like all the difference of like being familiar with like the genre and the market, really, has got to like make it
sure
night and day. I don't know if easier is the word, but you got to feel like, I'd imagine, like more comfortable.
It's like having merit
knowing
badges.
the market,
He has got more merit
100%.
badges.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes, yes, definitely like more confidence, and definitely like you're more aware, and then just more insight of like okay, these guys are managed with these guys work with here, like we should try to hit them up for this or for a collab on this. Like I just know more of the people, just because of by nature of playing in a band and doing that whole thing. So that just made it a lot easier.
Yeah,
So,
totally, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude.
Do you think if we're touring near you, I can throw you up on stage to play bass for Yes I?
Yeah, sure. I would
Damn.
love to.
I think that'd be
Yeah,
dope, dude. Because
dude.
dude, I just love that you're a bassist. And I'm like, dude, you are in the shit. You know what it's up. You know van life. You know it all. It's like, dude, hell yeah, I'd love to throw you up on stage and be like, get some love, dude. Have some fun.
Hey, if you guys are cool with it, for sure, man. I'm
Just
I'm
do it
down
on
to
do it on a time when you don't have anything to do for a little while, because it gets smoky up there for that song.
Oh,
yeah, dude.
Nice.
There's a hazard for that
Nice.
one.
Yeah.
There's a hazard. Nice. Yeah. What are we looking at? Like a in G A minor,
B to
something
A.
like that, or
B to A, baby.
B to
Two
A.
chords,
There it
man.
is.
All
There it is.
Johnny Cash always said you need 3 chords in the truth. We only use 2 chords, so
Nice.
so just check
We
it
do
I like
out.
that,
too.
Mr. Cash.
Nice. Perfect, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
let's do it.
Dude, so when did you meet the Pepper guys? Was it at that high school thing at Hard Rock?
Yeah, I met them. I met them at that. Yeah, at the Hard Rock when I was a senior in high school, and that was like such a raging show. I mean, I graduated high school in 03, so like Conatown had come out like in 02. So like
Oh,
it was like
wow.
right,
Oh,
and then
hell
like
yeah.
that song, like Give It Up, like was
Mhm.
like popped after the album had come out. Like around 03 was when it started. Like K Rock kind of like started picked it up, and they like
that's so
it was when they
cool.
were kind of like blowing up, so like it was this like it was this raging show like
Yeah.
at Hard Rock. So that was super fun. I met them then, and then like I've met them like so many times over the course of however long, just going to shows and kind of just doing that whole thing where I was like to the point where like when I was talking with Yi about coming on to Law, I was like worried that he was going to remember me, because I'd always punish the guys and be like, "Dude, you guys played my high school college or high school graduation. Like it was so
awesome.
cool." Like, and they never connected the dots stuff. So
Nice.
needless to say, it was great.
The trail is clear.
Have you talked
The
to him about
trail's
that
clear.
since then?
I have, yeah. And I mean, even if I was like, Yi and the guys are so nice. Like I
So
don't even think that
nice, man.
they
So
would even
cool.
like skip a beat at all. But I was like, I've punished them on that so many times. Like, dude, you played my high school graduation. It was so cool. And they're like, "Oh yeah, cool, man." Like,
Oh, dude, it's so fucking awesome. That's so
yeah.
cool.
Those
Yeah,
guys,
so
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it was just funny I mean, as you guys know too, playing in bands, like you kind of like have to like at some point take the fan hat off and kind of like, all right, everybody's like normal people and whatnot, and kind of
Yeah.
like that was So
Yeah.
that's been a gradual experience along the way too.
I
Sure.
found that on tour, I always wait till the last day to like really give a compliment to band members, because like I always feel like if you like go in too early, they'll be like, "Oh, he's just I don't want to be treated like a fan. You don't want to be treated like a music." So like I usually wait till the last day to be like, "Hey man, by the way, I listen to that song every day. Goodbye, see you, thank you." Because I just because I want that moment still of like, "Oh, dude, thanks, dude, you're so cool. You know that. Oh, you know you're cool. You know you're cool. It's just
Totally.
like because
Well-
like I'm still such a fan. Like I'm always passionate. It's like I have a passion for that too.
Yeah.
Oh,
For sure. What was it like touring with Mike Love, man? I
Bro.
love that guy. That guy is like next level.
dude,
He's so good.
we play Pokemon Go together. Do you know how
No,
how
no way.
satisfying that is to me, dude? It was like we had like 30 minutes before sound check. Oh
I
my god.
remember, dude. They all
Dude, it was 30 minutes before sound check, and there was like a raid for like a new Pokemon that came out that day. And Mike Love was like, "Yo, dude, we gotta go and drive
in
and
the
get this
van."
Pokemon." And like,
No way.
let me say, Mike Love, maybe not the best driver because it was kind of scary. But dude, we got there. We got that Pokemon, dude. We went back, dude. Just nerding out with him, dude. Mike Love's one of the coolest, most down to earth guys, man.
I'm sure he is. I mean, he seems like it. I feel like that's one that I would like nerd out on. Like, how do you do that, dude? Like, how are you like so good?
Dude,
Because
yeah.
he's
He's
crazy
he's an
talented.
Super talented.
alien on the guitar, and like
Yeah.
his hands are
Totally.
doing different things, his feet are doing different things. He's adjusting controls with his toes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
He's a magician up there, dude.
Any
He is.
room that he's in, he's the most talented guy in that room.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
pretty
it's
true,
crazy.
dude.
It's like, not from this planet.
And he might even be the nicest too.
Yeah, him and
Totally.
Joey like were like this that
He's
whole
just a
tour.
big
That's so
sweetheart.
rad.
Yeah.
He wore our hoodie like the whole
He w-
rest of the tour.
He asked for a hoodie. It's like, yeah, of course, here's a hoodie. He wore it for 80% of the tour, and it's like we didn't ask him to do that. He's just doing it, and it's so
Nice.
cool and so nice. Oh, warms my heart, man. Mr.
Yeah,
Love.
he's definitely like someone that's just like an example of like honing in on your craft and just perfecting it, because he's like perfected this craft. Like it's so
Right.
it's so
dude.
cool to see and like inspiring, like
Yeah.
to see what he's doing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I met his dad on that tour. Doesn't look like Mike Love at all. Total normal guy. I went up to his dad. I was like, "Did you turn him into this?" He was like, "Nah, man. He found that on his own." And like,
Nice.
this guy was like some normal straight dude. It was so funny. He's like, "This is my
Nice.
dad, Joey." I'm like, "No fucking way, Mr. Love. What's up, dude?"
Nice. He used to
Yeah.
play in this band called Father Psalms in Hawaii, which was like in a band, and like
Uh-huh.
he played one of my best friend's wedding, and like
Oh,
it was like Father
my
Psalms
goodness.
did, and he was playing. It was like we're like, brah, this is legendary. It was so solid.
So legendary. He's right.
He's just amazing.
Yeah.
great.
Was he the singer in that band too?
He sang in that. I think a bunch of different people sang as well too. It was like
Mm-hmm.
a collective. Like, did you ever hear of Ukla the Mock?
Yeah. I love
oh my
them,
goodness.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So Father Psalms, like a bunch of those guys that were in it, or a bunch of guys that were in Ukla started Father Psalms, and so it was like kind of like a collective of musicians that like all of those guys and whatnot. So.
Dude, that's
Ukla
so
is like
sick.
one of my like all-time favorites, like out of Hawaii. Like they are so tough reggae, man. Like
Yeah.
so good.
They're another like super like Mike Love, like just a really musical band. You know what I
So
mean?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's BW too from the Green, who played keys for them.
No shit,
Which was
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Whoa,
it was a
dude.
big part of that. A big
Wow.
part of that band, because he's just like another incredible musician too. BW.
Yeah,
Of course.
He's just like crazy good. Yeah.
yeah,
A lot of Hawaii people just representing.
yeah. No kidding, man.
It's
Something
great
in the water
representation.
over there.
Right?
Yeah.
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 Totally. It's
Yeah.
the air. It's the air.
The Green's one of those bands I've always wanted to like open for and meet, because those guys are just like, they're a band with so many different songwriters, and each one dominates. Like they're all so talented. Like the Green just blow me away every time I rediscover them or listen to an album again. I'm just like, oh my
Marshall
goodness.
out there. That freaked me out. I didn't recognize his
Our
mustache.
drummer's sulking out in the shadows
Yeah, we
over
got
here.
Marshall
Nice.
poking through the window.
He's
Nice.
keeping Tom and us.
Nice.
What a spooky dude.
It's the mustache that got me. I'm
Yeah,
like,
dude, he's got that. He's got a V for Vendetta kind of stash
Yeah.
going on. He's about to start a rebellion over here.
Dude,
I love that, dude.
I want to take a second. I feel like we've just been like going from like person to person, being like, that guy's the shit. But I feel like it's really important to talk about like Pepper, dude, and like those guys really seriously helped us out, man, and gave us an opportunity, dude. And that's another
numerous
thing.
times.
I mean, so many times, man. I mean, there's like
It's unbelievable.
yeah, what they have like just been so cool to us, like just like right off rip. It's really, I don't know, man. Like just like when we like kind of like first met them and like started working with them, it was just blew me away, man. How like they were just cool, dude. Like I'm kind of like without words, man, just because of the
Yeah, no,
opportunity that they've given us,
Yeah.
man.
They're
It's
very,
really amazing.
very welcoming and
Yeah.
and very like insightful, and
Yeah.
them and that first tour that we did with Less Than Jake, and Less Than Jake was just as cool.
Yeah, they were.
And they were just like,
They gave us a chance. Ooh.
at the end of it, they were like, just keep doing what you're doing. And we had heard that before. A lot of
Mhm.
people were saying that, but by the end of that tour, I felt like that it meant the most to hear from them
That's-
and Pepper.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. they're just like such great guys, you know. And I think a lot of it is Hawaii. Like I think like just
Yeah.
people are really nice in Hawaii, you know. Like
They are.
and I think that they just carry that like that aloha spirit, like you know, to this day. And they're just great guys. I think, you know, at the end of the day,
It's
you know.
I remember they talked about like Ohana, you know, just family, like Ohana vibe. And I've always
Yeah.
like, I know I've come from a very like, you know, a kind of big family where that's like really tight, you know? So it's like,
Mhm.
I loved coming into this and hearing like, oh, Ohana family. Like I get it. Like I can definitely extend that love I have for my family to other artists, to other, you know, fans. And I always feel like we really took that to heart because like everywhere we go, we're trying to make these connections with people. Like no matter who you are, a fan or another band, I feel like our goal is to make friends with everyone. Because I feel like
Totally.
our social group is just, it's bigger every year and it feels organic is what the most beautiful part about it is. It's like we're not
For
even
sure.
trying, and it's like we have friends. Of course we have friends. We love these people. Like why wouldn't we? You know, it just feels so natural. And Ohana kind of encompasses that for me. It really does.
And that's what they did, you know, everywhere they went. I mean, you just
Yeah.
like see like their fan base everywhere are just like so passionate and hardcore about them, you know, like which is rad because they made that connection. Like they're so good at like, it's crazy. They like have that like stage presence, and then they like get off the stage and you talk to them and they're like just so they're stoked to be there. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you
Yeah.
can tell
Oh,
that
yeah,
they're like
for sure.
they're not bummed on like talking to fans or like I got to do this. Like they're just stoked, you know.
Right.
And like you can kind of see that they're like they are fans of music and bands as well too. You know, like they
Totally.
You know, it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's such great guys, and the same thing, man. Like they gave me the opportunity to run this label too, which has been awesome and great for me as well. So like I know exactly what you're saying. Like they're great people, man, and you really can't like you can't say it enough, and you can't figure out like what exactly the words are because they're all like it's just dope.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
fortunate. We're very fortunate, you know.
Totally.
Sure, living the dream.
Totally.
Yeah.
Man.
Totally.
Dude.
And they're killing it too, you know, like
Hell fucking
that
yeah.
album, like 2019 album Locomotion was killer,
Oh,
you know.
so
And,
damn
Right.
good. Their last
it's
two
just
albums,
cool to
so
see.
good.
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, for
they're-
sure.
They're really consistent, like with their work, and it's cool to see them. Just, I mean, they've been plugging away for a long time, you know, and to just see that like people are like they're just going so strong.
Oh, dude.
And like
They're still getting young fans, dude.
Yeah, I
like
was
for
gonna
sure. I see young fans all the time for Pepper, and it's like, yeah, you made a good choice. These guys are badass.
right on that
Yeah.
last tour, I remember at this one show they said, "Who's is this anybody here's first Pepper show?" And it was like a quarter of the crowd like raised their hand. I was like, dude, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Good for
Right.
them, dude.
Like, where have you been?
yeah, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I took that as like they're still making fans,
Oh,
and I
for sure.
think that that's
For
so
sure.
cool, dude. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
So kind of like cycle it back to the label stuff. So like what generally goes into like a song's conception to release?
Well, I mean, it depends on. I mean, it depends on the project, I would say, but like it kind of. It depends on where the song is at. So I guess like if you guys had a song and you know, we want to work with this person or something like that, we might be able to help, you know, connect you to this person, to whatever. The song gets recorded, mastered, you deliver the final masters and the artwork, and then we kind of, you know, talk about what you have going on and when can we put it out and do it in an interesting way around whatever's going on in your guys' world, and try to like find a way to, you know, just get it to as many people as possible. So but it depends though. Sometimes the song is like in a demo state. Like, you know, I've heard some of the demos for you guys too, which are fantastic.
Ooh,
by the way,
baby.
I must say.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
We're so excited,
Super excited
man.
on those.
Woo!
Yeah, man.
Us too, man. So like those where you hear the entire process of like from the demos to the rough mixes to the final mixes to mastering. Like depends on where, you know, sometimes bands come in and they just, you know, deliver a full album and here's the album, and then it's like, okay, cool. Well, what's going on? What, you know, put a plot in the ground on, or a calendar date, and just say, all right, this is what we're going to do, and then you kind of all right, if we're looking at a May 25th release, then let's go back 4 months and kind of start the whole process of what's going to happen between now and the next 4 months or so. So it kind of depends. I think like with now though too, you kind of have to look at like things as like, like it used to be like there was like an album and an album campaign, and it was like kind of like not finite, but like it could last a really long time. I think now you almost have to look at it as like, what's the content like plan for the next year to 18 months,
Right.
and how are you going to utilize the content, whether it be an album, a collection of singles, and like to last that amount of time,
Totally. Yeah.
which is crazy, which is hard for you guys, like as musicians and artists to be like churning out content the way that you guys do,
Yeah, it definitely kind of forces you to I mean we've talked about this about how it's you start a band and you're like, oh, we're gonna play shows and we're gonna write songs and we're gonna do band shit, and then as you go down the road, it's like,
oh, can you design T-shirts, dude?
right, what band shit is gets bigger and bigger,
Sure.
and now we're like, doing
how much do you
this.
know about Vans?
Right,
Because you're gonna learn a whole lot about Vans for some reason.
right, dude, just all sorts of stuff that you wouldn't, I don't know, like as before, somebody who had never been in a band is just like seems not related, but
Sure.
has actually everything to do with it.
Everything.
Sure. It's like starting your own business.
Totally.
Like
It totally
you're
is.
gonna have to figure out everything from like, you better learn finances and like how to
Right.
like,
Mhm.
balance the books, like not and cash flow, and like it's crazy,
Yeah.
It is.
So yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that gets asked of you guys, and unfortunately, it seems like there's more and more. Like because of like with COVID too, it's like, hey,
Right.
do a bunch of other cool shit, because now that you're on the road, like you have to be present all the time.
Yeah.
Like
Adapting constantly.
yeah, with social media, that sucks.
Dude, that's a beast that will always be
Yeah.
hungry, pretty much.
For,
It really is, dude.
for sure,
Can't quench
for
it.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Which is crazy though too, because they're like the streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music. Those are like their own form of social media, and like that you
Yeah.
have to like feed those beasts in order
Right.
to keep those things active and to grow your platform, which is just a different world than artists that had to deal with before.
Right,
Yeah.
man. I always like,
But also great opportunities though too. I don't want to be all doom and gloom. Like
No,
digital
totally, man.
streaming provides incredible opportunities that weren't there before either. But
Of course.
it is a lot,
yeah, dude.
It's
I
amazing.
always like wonder, like, I don't know, like imagine like Led Zeppelin going out on their first national tour and just being like, hope people know us here. Well, you know what I mean? Where like it's like nowadays you have like exact data on how many people listen to your
Sure.
band every day on Spotify in this town. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Sure,
It's,
sure.
like,
But
so
then,
wild.
but before there was like a gatekeeper though. So like if you were like a band probably getting that national tour, like there was probably a reason that you were even
Good
getting
point.
that, because you had radio airplay and
Mhm.
a hit in this city or something,
Yeah,
or
that's
you were
right.
doing something. So like the bands, like there was just such a smaller pool of bands that were even around to be able to do that. So like it's just different,
Right,
like now
yeah.
there's I mean, like how many millions, like I don't know, is it millions, like or like it's got to be hundreds of thousands of artists that are on Spotify, like
Right.
individual artists, like there's no barrier. It used to be like, to record on tape, think of how expensive
Oh
it
my
was to go
goodness,
into
yeah.
the studio.
It was early
Like
days.
tape itself was like hundreds of thousands of dollars,
Crazy.
The game's
Yeah.
constantly changing.
Yeah,
It's changing.
yeah.
It's
Totally.
changing every other year, basically. It's insane.
Yeah.
Totally. And
Yeah.
hopefully it changes back to like touring being, a cool thing again. Hopefully that comes back soon.
Yeah.
I
We're
went
all wishing.
to the Dirty Heads drive-in
Yeah,
show.
that looked awesome.
Nice. You made it.
Yeah, and
Nice.
I going into it, I was like, I hope this is cool. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know like how I was going to perceive it, and I wanted to think really good things, and I knew that Dirty Heads put on a great show, but how is the experience going to be, and how is it going to
Sure.
hit me?
As
And-
like
Yeah.
a drive-in show, you mean?
yeah,
Gotcha.
and so like just the energy is going to be different. There's going to be
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
stage and lights, but then everybody's spread out, and it's like, it's,
Yeah.
and that part was it actually was like really nice from a spectator's standpoint, which I never really get to do anyway at shows. So to just watch a show was great.
Nice.
To be able to like be pretty close, have a great view of the stage and the screen, and just lay back and chill. And like you can't really do that at a regular festival. So it was it was something of its own kind that I actually did appreciate.
It's cool.
But I also hope that we can just stand next to people.
Yeah. Totally.
Can't wait
That would
to
be
hug
sick.
fans. Yeah, that'd be nice.
You kind of forget how like weird it is, and you're like actually like at a festival. If you're like at a festival of thousands of people, and you're like right on top of each other,
Right.
Like, so like it takes a pandemic to be like, wow, that is pretty wild. I mean, think
Yeah,
about
I'm
it,
surprised
you know?
more
Yeah.
people aren't sick from random things
Right,
after
yeah.
festivals.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Dude, I spent a night in a bathroom at a festival before, and these guys had to rescue me, and
That
I
was
came
not
out
a
just
real
fine.
bathroom. That was a porta potty.
Oh yeah, it was a porta potty. Sorry. Yeah, and I wanted to stay in there. I was really
He
comfortable.
locked himself in there, and it took
No.
like a good 20 minutes at least to convince him just to open the door.
Yeah,
And when we did,
I was meditating the alcohol out of my body.
he was like on the floor of the porta potty, just puke everywhere.
It was
That's
a good.
super sanitary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, it was
yeah.
good, dude.
Sanitary.
I'm
Yeah.
alright.
And look at him now; he's just fine.
Dude, yeah, man,
Look
I
at
got
him
all
now.
8 of my fingers, man. We're all good.
Yeah, I don't think the World Health Organization would be pretty stoked on that. Yeah.
The immune system is stronger for it.
Is crying. Okay, I got a question for you, Paul.
Yeah, man.
You got any questions for us? Anything you want to talk to us
Ooh.
about?
Damn, the switcheroo.
That's right. I'm a
Dang.
switcheroo
Whoa,
kind of
the-
guy.
Whoa. Switcheroo kind of guy. Well, Joey, what do you think of the Dune trailer?
Dude,
You
Oh,
excited
shit.
for that one coming out?
let me put on my I'm a pretentious sci-fi nerd hat for a second. So, I'm a huge Dune head. I've been reading books all my life, but for some reason, when I read the first Dune book, I only read the Dune books for like 2 years. Just a constant rotation. And from watching the trailer, I give it a massive stamp of approval. I really do.
Nice.
Because they're not revealing a lot. Because, like, you know, you've read the book. There's still a lot they haven't revealed. Like, they haven't revealed all of the Harkonnens. They revealed the big bad one, the other big bad one, but they haven't revealed the skinny guy who's going to be the real adversary of Paul. So it's like, knowing the story, it's amazing what they're showing because they're just showing these characters doing very simple things. And, like, the art design, I am very happy with it because it is a very stark reality. You know, it's almost like they're so futuristic. It's medieval
Yeah.
times again, which is, you know, what the kind of the vibe is. You know, there's not a lot of guns in it. It's a lot of sword fighting and whatnot. So
Sure.
I really am a fan of it. Plus the fact that they designed the sandworm to look like an eye looking it back at you is very clever because, like, a lot of the book is internal dialogue. It's a lot of introspection, and, you know, Paul changes spiritually throughout the novel. I'm like getting
He's
out of breath.
opening up like a flower.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
he's,
blushing.
he's blushing.
So, yeah,
He's
so,
got
yeah.
goosebumps.
Yeah, I'll show him this. Yeah, it's really damn good. I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. I'm gonna call
awesome.
you after I see it and lose my mind. I'm sure it'll happen.
Please do.
So do you know what
Please do.
melange is then? Is that are you familiar with
Yeah.
this term?
Dude, it's been a minute, but it sounds familiar. But
Yeah,
I
the
don't-
drug
I
is
don't-
called
I
the
couldn't
spice
tell you right off the
melange.
top. The spice melange. That's what it
That's
is.
it,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
yes, I
Dude,
am.
Greg, tell a story of how you saw that.
Well, I still don't know what it is, but Joe would come to this.
Yeah, come to our
He'd
practices.
come to our practices and often try to come to shows wearing this. It was a jersey, and it was like, I think at one point it was like highlighter orange,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it
Like-
he's had it for so long it was like almost pink, but still kind of highlighter orange. So like this faded version.
It
of
was
that.
like a flag football jersey too. It
Yeah,
wasn't like
it
a
looked like
nice
directing
jersey.
airplane like air
and
traffic
it's
control.
cut all like wide and weird. Doesn't sit on you good like a nice like
Oh, no.
basketball champion jersey or something.
But there was one good redeeming quality.
it had the word melange on it, and it had but like half the letters were missing.
Yeah, I got it custom at Ocean City. And that's actually
Nice.
that's my second Dune one, because I had a second jersey that said Atreides on it, which is the
amount of
the
times
family
I tried to
house.
throw it away.
Oh, it's dirty. It's
was like-
it's pretty
It's
real.
got some miles on it.
I'd
for
find
sure,
it at
man.
the studio and be like, Jax, can I do it? Can I do it? No, man, we can't do it too. It's like his favorite. You know?
It really is.
Damn it! Yeah, he wasn't allowed to wear it for a while.
Dude, my sense of fashion when I joined the band was hideous. It was not a good situation.
And a lot has changed.
Yeah, I've learned how to shave. I've learned that you put soap all over your body. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's come a long way, man.
Who knew?
Dude,
Yeah.
Paul, if you had one like a dream band that you were gonna work on an album release with, who would it be?
Ooh, baby, I like that.
Wow, a dream band that I would work on an album release with. Fuck, man. I mean, I've always been a huge Blink-182 fan, so I mean that would
Nice.
be killer.
Yeah.
To kind of just go into there, and Travis Barker is, you know, just obviously the man. So that would be really rad. And then obviously, like, you know, they just did that album with John Feldman of Goldfinger, so I'd love to work with
Yeah,
John
that's
Feldman
right.
as well too. But man, you know, God, dude, that's a great question. That's a great question. Blink is like the first thought off the top of my head, just because I've always been a huge Blink
Totally.
fan. But something in that kind of world, like Rancid, Blink, Green Day, like something along the Bad Religion, like one of those bands
hell
would be
Yeah.
would be super fun to work with. Bad Religion, I would love to work with, because like those guys are so smart. Like Greg Geffen is the lead singer, and he's like has like a double master's
Yeah.
and teaches at UCLA, and like I'd love to just like, all right, like, you know, tell
Yeah.
me about the way the world works or something, you know, like
Uh-huh.
and get into those kinds of conversations with them. So that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be super cool, dude.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And plus I'm a big fan of just Epitaph, you know, and Brett Gurewitz and,
Yeah.
you know, what they built over there. And, you know, Law is like really, well, as we go down this route, I would also say NoFX too, because I'm a huge NoFX fan.
Uh-huh.
Law, like definitely like the guys are definitely like really influenced by like Fat Records and Epitaph and like being indie and doing things their own way, but, you know, growing this kind of scene. Cause you know, those labels, like they created their own thing, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was they curated a scene and brought all these bands up. And, you know, I think that's like what we're trying to ultimately do too. And, you know, to work with one of those bands in that capacity would be awesome.
Yeah, totally, dude. So
Yeah.
kind of like
Legendary.
speaking like along that line, I feel like we got to talk about Bradley's house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
yes.
Dude,
Dude,
how's
epic.
that process
You're
been?
crushing Bradley's house.
Yeah, dude, you really
Everyone
crushed
knows
that,
about
dude.
it. It's
Thanks.
so sick.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. That's just been an incredible, just the constant mind blowing, like project to be working on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know, I met Kelly Knoll, who runs the Knoll Family Foundation, and Brad's sister. I met her at Cali Roots, last year. And I was like, you know, I want to get involved. I want to help. You know, I'd love to get Law involved in some capacity. I was like, I just don't know how yet. I'm in the middle of like all kinds of like, you know, it was May and Pepper's album came out in end of June. So like, I was like, I'm drowning right now. But I was like, when I surface, like, I was like, I'm going to call you and I'm going to like come up, like, I'd love to do something. And so, and then so I had this idea. Kaleo and I were talking. And I was like, Kaleo, like, you should just do like a song. We'll put the song out and the proceeds from the song will go to Bradley's house. And he's like, that's cool. He's like, well, and then we kind of started talking about it more. And we were like, well, what if like all the Law bands did a song? And then we were like, okay, that's cool. And then we started talking more and we're like, well, what if like, you know, all kinds of bands did a song?
Yeah,
Because everybody like obviously knows Sublime and has been influenced by him. So like,
Oh
we
yeah.
kind of just started opening it up and asking it to like all kinds of people. And everybody was like, hell yeah, like fuck yeah, like, you know, like all proceeds go to Bradley's house, you know, which I don't know how familiar you guys are with Bradley's house, but they're raising money to open a treatment center, which will be for musicians struggling with addiction. And it's like this rad. It's just rad in so many levels of like honoring Brad and
Oh, yeah.
Sublime
Yeah,
and raising
totally.
money for a cause that is such a positive thing. And like, it's just been such a mind-boggling experience to have been doing it,
Dude, it's so good. It's such an opportunity to give back to all that Sublime has given to everyone.
Yeah,
for sure. And I mean, they've, you kind of take for granted, like, I mean, like reggae, like was already big and was doing its thing, but like they brought a lot of that American reggae, to the mainstream here, and like, and and then so many bands emulating that sound and like being influenced by it in some way or another. Like so much was just owed to what they did, and like,
right.
it's just, it's so rad to like, to be a part of this in some capacity, and like, and then all the bands that like did songs are like, fuck, they're just such killer versions. It's
Dude,
crazy.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, dude. I think my favorite
like,
right now might be the Tunnel Vision one, honestly, dude.
Yeah,
Like Hayden crushed that one. I was like, damn.
I like
this
the
is a
Mad
track.
Caddies one.
Oh, the Mad Caddies one is brutal.
I was gonna say,
It's
I think
so
that Mad
true.
Caddies one is probably one of my favorites as well too.
So good, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way that the bands kind of did what Sublime did with the songs. Like Sublime, covered a lot of bands, but like you wouldn't know that they were covers because they did their little spin on it. You know what I mean? And like, that's what so many of the bands did, which I thought was really rad. Which was so meta too.
Right. It's almost like the spirit of Sublime. To do that. Yeah.
Totally. And then to have like the Descendants do, Hope, which Sublime covered, they did their own version of it. And like, it was such a wild, like, yeah, it was really cool, man. It was really awesome. And to be getting involved with the Knoll family and the foundation, like, it's just been such an honor. And like, I'm really like committed to helping them get Bradley's house open. And like, it's like what I envisioned the project as, and like what reason why we wanted to do it too was like to market Bradley's house and to like get it out there to everybody. But then it's like, I want it to be an ongoing source of revenue for them, as like, cause with digital music, like once it's kind of going and in the algorithms, it kind of just stays there at some level. And so like, it can just be an ongoing source of revenue and hopefully an ongoing source of marketing for them, and, really launch them to try to get, the project going and to get the house built. So,
right.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so cool, man. So cool. That's sick, dude.
Congrats on all that.
Hey,
yeah,
thanks,
seriously.
Man. Thanks, man. It's been a really fun project. I've learned like so much from it, and it's been just such a rad experience. Like, I'm like such a Sublime nerd, like to begin with, and so like I mean, I know a lot of people are as well too, but like I've like read the liner notes, like, oh, this Kelly Vargas drummed on this track, and this was a Marshall Goodman track, and this was and then like seeing like who got writing credit on certain songs, like has been just like all that stuff has been such a fun project to dive into.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool. Been really fun,
dude.
And then there's more music to come too, which is even cooler.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, sick. Well, Paul, I don't want to take up too much of your time here, man. I think we're at about that time. But dude, thanks so much for doing this with us, man.
Guys.
Yeah, man.
Thanks,
It's been so fun, dude.
Yeah, thank you guys, man. And you guys are like, one of the favorite bands to work with, man. Like, I love just working with you guys, and like the vibe, the energy at the shows. It's like, it's great, man. I'm really excited for these demos. Like, I'm really excited for people to hear these songs kind of come to life.
Us too, man.
Yeah,
dude. I think
it's just so cool.
Yeah, dude. The demos are like some of my favorite shit that we've ever done. Like, I'm really, really excited.
I can't wait to turn them into more than demos.
Yeah. I can't wait to like send you the files and be like, here it is.
This
man.
is done.
Yeah, dude. It's gonna be fun.
It's great, man. I'm like, when I've been listening to them, I'm like, fuck, these are killer, man, and they're just demos.
Yeah, we're stoked.
We can put these out.
yeah, right. Hell yeah. Well, dude, Paul, we fucking love you, man.
Yeah,
thanks so much for all you do for us, and just the scene in general is awesome, dude.
Fuck yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, man. Much love, guys.
Yeah, appreciate you,
Thanks,
man.
Love you.
Take care, dude.
You guys. Shoot.